This is It's Not in the Syllabus podcast, the how-tos of a student beyond classroom walls. This is the podcast where you, yes you, get to learn what they don't teach you at school and ace that test called life, or at least get a passing grade and get by. It's Not in the Syllabus is a podcast brought to you by the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies, together with the Student Association, where we feature stories by the students and for the students. Join us as we discover life lessons you'll surely need.
Hello guys, welcome back to It's Not in the Syllabus podcast. We are in episode 17 and with me today I have Anup and Elizabeth. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Pretty good.
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you for accepting our invitation
Thank
to
you
be
for
with us
inviting
today.
us.
All right, so I'm going to introduce them very quickly, but today our topic is building a multicultural family. Now, Anup and Elizabeth, they've been married. They have 3 kids that I know of.
3 kids.
3 kids, 3 beautiful kids,
Thank
I would
you.
say. So Anup is a PhD student in the business department, and Elizabeth is a finance expert. Will I say
Not
that?
expert.
A finance, well, she's been working with finance. So they are here at IS. Anup is studying and Elizabeth is working. So today we are going to have few questions and we are going to understand what is it to build a multicultural family. Just a shorter way of introducing, Anup is from India, right?
Hello. Yes.
And Elizabeth is
Aloka.
from the Philippines. Now, they have a perfect match for us to understand this particular topic. So, my first question will be, what does it mean to be a multicultural family? What does it mean by that?
You want to go?
Okay, you.
Okay, so I was having an theory
Yeah.
that, but it by the way, as soon as I walked in, Arnold knocked it down. Okay, I mean the theory is basically that any couple,
Yeah.
doesn't matter where they are from, country, city, state, whatever. If they get married, if
Yeah.
they're going to be married, and even if they're from the same place, they're going to have a different culture in the home. So that's my theory.
I like that.
Okay, because they came from different homes,
Yeah.
so they're gonna have different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Different food culture. And then as soon as I met Arnold, Arnold is like, no, me and my wife, we are pretty much the same. So I'm like, maybe my theory is kind of crumbling at that point. But I do feel that most couples, even if they came from the same place, may have a different culture.
All right. By the way, just say Arnold, the one we mentioned a while ago, is the one behind the camera. So,
Yes.
all right, Elizabeth,
Yeah.
what is your point of view?
So multicultural in the sense is like if I look at our family, our
Okay.
immediate family, Anup is Indian,
Yeah.
but he is born and raised in Dubai. So
Wow.
he has this mix of Indian
Yeah.
and he has the Middle Eastern culture.
Middle
because
East
that's-
expat culture.
Yeah.
something like that.
All right.
And for our kids, I am a Filipino.
Sure.
So, when I see our children and other children,
Mhm.
I could see that they are exposed. So the main thing in the multicultural setup is the exposure.
Okay.
So the kids tend to be exposed in Filipino, Indian, Arabic.
Yeah.
Now they are here inside the campus
Yeah.
where
International
there is-
campus.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
so they tend to kind of like assimilate a little of everything.
Everything.
And so the exposure is a good thing. It's a blessing.
It's a good
Yes.
thing. Now let's talk about your love story. This is well, just briefly.
Yes.
I had this question, which is: have you ever dreamt of marrying an Indian, or if Anup has an Indian, have you ever dreamt of marrying the Filipino? So tell me briefly, how was your love story? How did you guys met?
Yeah. It's in the church.
Okay, yeah. So we were church mates and we were actually youth leaders.
Interesting.
So when I came into the church, yes,
This
I
is
was-
where
this
was
is
it?
happening in Dubai.
In Dubai. All right.
And this is happening in 2005.
5, 6.
2005, 2006.
All right.
And so coming into the church in Dubai, I was a new Christian, new Seventh-day Adventist. And Beth was an Adventist, but she was coming in from Thailand because she was teaching in Thailand.
Oh.
So I was, first time to church. She was first time to church. And then they became youth leaders.
Was it love at first sight?
No.
It was not.
No.
I think her first impressions of me were
I
like,
hate this guy.
yeah. That's
Because
probably-
how could you, for us, if you wear long sleeves,
Yeah.
you should tuck it
Tuck
in. Yes. but
Yeah, I
he would,
don't.
he would, and the pants,
Yeah.
loose pants, and he would walk like that. I'm like,
She didn't like my style.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you like it now?
Still not, but
she doesn't mind it anymore.
So this is how you guys get to know each other at the church,
yes.
youth leaders, and
Yeah.
then what happens?
And then,
Yeah.
long story told, we were a big group
All right.
of friends. And we always encouraged each other to, hey, that's a nice guy for you. And she would be like, hey, that's a nice girl for you.
All right.
Yeah.
And so we always kind of did that. But eventually we ended up being stuck together all the
Alright.
time.
I see. I
And,
see.
we were planning.
It's the time invested with each other, I think.
I see. I see.
That
I
you
see.
see, and then even if you are interested, he's interested in another girl, I'm interested in another guy, but you would be like, but we don't have that,
Yeah.
we became best friends. We were church mates, we became leaders, we became best friends,
Uh-huh.
then we got married. So we had that kind of transition in the relationship.
Almost a 3-year process of, just
Knowing each
regular
other.
friends
Mhm.
and then courting later, a year later, and then finally, like, intimately courting. And
Yeah.
this is my girlfriend now.
Now,
that-
my next question is, marrying someone from a different culture, or let me just begin this way. Marriage itself can be a complex thing, even when we married within your culture.
Correct.
that's
now,
true.
How much more married within a different, not within, but a different culture? So, what are the benefits of these multicultural marriages, if I would say this? And what are the benefits and what are the challenges that you both face? Maybe we can help someone out there who is also into this.
Yeah. I remember one of the elders, as I was just, starting to date Beth and being very vocal about it. I remember one of the elders in church came up to you and said, she's a nice girl, and you're a good guy, and I think you guys will make a wonderful couple. But let me put some challenges out there. And he said one of them, he said, was it's going to be expensive. International weddings are expensive. Where are you going to retire? Where are you going to vacation? See questions like this.
Yeah.
And what? You're going to do passports. Which country? All of those kind of questions.
Yeah.
So and it has been true. One of the challenges of international marriage is expensive. Because you have to think about your parents in India.
Yeah.
And we have to think about the parents in the Philippines.
Yes.
And we have to think about vacationing and where do we go and how do we spend time with all of these people
All right.
who we love and care.
So those are the challenges. But when we were starting, we are aware because we were having counseling from the elders of the church and the pastor. So we kind of like agreed to each other that the culture that will dominate in our family will be not necessarily even the Adventist culture, but whatever is in the Bible. We are both aware that in both cultures there are good and bad.
All right.
So it's like you throw away the good,
You bring
take
the bad.
You
take
throw away the bad.
you throw away the bad. You take the good.
All right.
So it's happening in our family.
That's right.
Definitely food, Indian food, cannot be out in the house. So there should be Indian food.
Yeah.
That's
Food
a good
is-
thing.
It's a
is
good
major,
thing.
yes, it's a major factor in the culture, right?
Definitely.
But when it comes to the strong family ties, Filipino culture is
Yeah.
very strong in
I
that,
feel
and I appreciate the way he respects that.
All right.
Because as of this moment, I still support my family.
Yes.
So he doesn't mind that. So
Alright.
that kind of thing. Because anyway, it's a biblical, right?
Yeah.
That you have to honor your father and your mother, and
Yeah.
whoever is poor in the
So-
family, we lift them up.
So
Yeah.
that was an agreement we had early on. We said, okay, every
Okay.
time we have a new, we're doing something new, and we're like, okay, the culture is coming through the door, and we can see that it's a good thing. We're going to
Yeah.
keep it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the moment it's going to be a bad thing, I'm going to say, hey, I don't like it. Or she's going to say, I don't like it.
I see. I see.
And so we will be together building up a culture that's more, I guess we can say biblical,
All right.
and also that's easy for us to manage, I guess.
You know what I got from the challenges is the expenses.
Yes.
That would be one. But the benefit is you could build a, let's just say, a biblical family. We could get away with a Christian, but a biblical family.
Yeah.
Now, my next question, which is in relations to what educational background or what educational values do you bring to your children?
Okay.
Because those are children with Indian father and Filipino mother.
Yes.
And both have different values when it comes to culture. So
Correct.
which culture is it being built in your home? And what can you say to someone out there who is considering getting married to a different, to a foreigner per se?
Yeah. So with regards to education, that we had contemplated ever since 2016 at the time, where we were like, we drop the kids at school at 7:30, and we will all see each other by 8:30 in the night. So it's like 13-hour difference.
Oh.
So we were like, okay, we both are earning good money, but what about our kids? There is no Adventist or Christian school in Dubai.
There is a Catholic school.
Yeah.
It is also
Saint
a
Mary's.
very expensive school.
All right.
And
So either way, it's expensive. So we decided that, okay, if we are saying that we work for the future of our kids, but it doesn't look like it.
All right.
Yeah.
We are working hard, we're earning money, but it doesn't look like we are raising our kids.
All right.
So we decided to come to
The Philippines.
the Philippines
Okay.
to be in the campus.
I see.
Although our kids don't study at Aya's Academy, but they still study in a
Christian
Christian school. So that is very important for
Yeah,
us.
I mean, so one of the reasons we came is really for our kids. I mean, I
Alright.
think primary reason is for our
Yes,
kids.
for our kids.
And this is, my education is just a ticket. I
passport
shouldn't.
to stay inside.
I mean, I don't know if that sounds nice to the people who run the school, but my education is really a ticket so that my kids can enjoy the life here, and that's really happening.
I see.
Because in the midst of all this multiculturalism and especially our biblical faith being emphasized, I know my children are getting a lot of good things. I mean, I just want to give an example of that, quick one. Willie Oliver, when he was here,
Yeah.
and he was preaching from the pulpit on Sabbath,
Yeah.
when he made an appeal, who responded to that appeal? It was amazing. It was the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the kids came up to the front. All three of my kids were there,
Oh,
and
wow.
many of the other kids of Aya's. They all went up. They are the ones who responded to the call, and there were tears running down my eyes.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's what I came here for.
All right. All
That
right.
my kids will have
A Christian
true faith.
True faith.
And and I can't be thankful enough to Aya's
No, praise God.
for that.
Yes.
It's good that you mentioned the value or the educational background that you bring is a faith-based
Yes.
educational background, and this leads us to the reason you came to IAS, for your kids to have that particular foundation. Now, our
Sure.
final question, which is, marriage can also be complex where there are problems on it. This is my second year of marriage. I can speak not with authority, but I at least
You're in
have
the
a
club,
background.
Daddy.
I have a background. Besides the challenges, the problem, marriage is a good thing. For those who are single out there, I advise
It
you
is a
to.
wonderful
It's a
thing.
wonderful thing.
Absolutely
Now-
wonderful. Is it?
Now, how do you guys solve your cultural differences in your marriages?
Interesting. But for me, it's to be more accepting, to understand that, there are different ways of doing things in this world. I mean, it's
Alright.
not just the way I've heard or I've thought about. There are different ways of doing things. There are different ways of approaching, taking care of your parents or reaching out to your siblings. And I've seen some of them in the Filipino culture, and they are beautiful ways of doing it.
Okay.
And so being more appreciative and accepting. It may be harder on my end sometimes,
Yeah.
but then I have to be like, this is for the. I think this is the verse that's coming to my mind from the book of Ruth.
Yeah.
I remember the kinsman redeemer was about to take Ruth, but
Yeah.
there's another one who's closer to her, right?
To her, yeah.
So he proposes it before the elders, and the words that man says is, "I must protect my estate."
Yeah.
So it sounded like, "I must protect my estate." Okay, let me just secure what I have before I take anything new in.
Yeah.
So I think that approach is very being accepting and being protecting your estate always.
All right.
Having the best interest of your spouse and your family in mind, keeping the peace at home, all of that.
Which is better. Someone
Absolutely.
yesterday said not yesterday, on Sunday I went to a wedding. Women's are always right. But what is
Happy
it?
wife, happy life.
Happy life.
Happy wife, happy life.
So how do you solve different cultural challenges in your marriage? Anup shared his point of view, which is
Yes.
acceptance. What about you?
I can't necessarily say it's cultural because we kind of like diluted that already. So
Alright.
it's kind of like more on personal differences.
Personal differences.
Yes. So still, but it's that's why it says love conquers all.
Oh yeah.
Because you become tolerant. Like there are still small things that, but you become tolerant.
Yeah.
Because it's like just like how Pastor Roger Hernandez, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the Vespers, the difference between the urgent
Mm-hmm.
and the important.
All right.
The difference between the good and the best.
The best. Yeah.
The difference between the temporal
Mm-hmm.
and permanent.
Permanent.
So we kind of like take that into consideration
Okay.
and always look further. Okay, the situation is here right now,
All right.
but what will be the consequence if I continue? Something
right.
like that. So it has to be intentional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any decision that we make has to be intentional. Otherwise, you just go out of the window.
That's
I
right.
see. Now we are about to end, and this will be maybe a personal, not a question, but something you ought to say to multicultural family out there. What will you be, or what will be your advice to them, as they are also in this jungle of building a multicultural family? Just a few words, one or two from both of you.
Okay. I can't even think of. I would probably say that if you are in a multicultural, by the way, I have to say that there's a lot of multicultural families around us in IS. And many a times, me and Beth are students watching them because they are much more matured and we see how they have been dealing with each other and their families and raising it. And many times we feel like they've done a really good job. So we have always found ourselves, okay, parenting skills. Look at Pastor Margie. He's a really good pastor who really, raises his kids. And there are other examples of many other things, like
The sparrows.
the Sparrows, okay, for example, how they, raise their kids musically and all that. So there are many families around us that are always, we're watching them and we're like, I would like to be like them.
I see.
So, I think pick a model
All right.
that kind of, somebody you want to imitate. Oh, I want to be like Pastor Margie when it comes to parenting.
All right.
Okay, so that's something I would pick up.
All right.
And I'll be like, I want to be like him in that sense. I want to be like him in that sense. So, you pick up all these elements
Yeah.
and then try to be a better person. I guess that's one thing we can all learn from each other because we're living in IS.
Wonderful.
To be a blessing
Wonderful.
to each other. For me, with regards to how do you deal with the cultural differences, and I think not only in cultural differences, but in life as a whole, is to go back to as it is written.
Okay.
What is in the
Wonderful.
Bible? We talked about, we kind of like removed, okay, Indian culture, Filipino culture, there are both pros and cons.
Yeah.
So we go back to what is in the Bible. How is it in the Bible? Although there will be some different interpretations, but because of that cultural factor. But we kind of look at that, and I am a mother, and the best interest would always be towards the kids. So I appreciate, as we mentioned before we have this, I appreciate the lesson quarterly today, where it talks about those 3 principles that we have to instill in our children, because we are investing in their future, and it's about instilling in them the value of tithes and offering,
Yeah.
the value of Christian education, and I forgot the other one. But it's very important that we utilize and we maximize the benefits living in an Adventist campus where the kids would be able to be independent for their future.
Absolutely.
And
All right.
every worship, we always tell them, we are investing you in this because we want you to be prepared for the future so you can be a blessing.
All right. Wow, I like that. Then thank you. For just to summarize, the advice that you give is you need to pick a model. You need to pick positive parenting on campus, and then you have to get from them the best
That's
version of themselves, not the negative one, because they can also be negative
Oh,
things.
yeah, negative
And
in
then
all
someone
of us.
say that the grass is always greener from the outside. So you need to pick that, and then you need to instill them this Christian education, making sure that what prevails in the home is a Christian education, which is in the Bible. What says the Bible? Oh, I couldn't agree much. Thank you for being with me today in It's Not It the Syllabus. So we like to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, to like it, to share with your friends. And until next time, God bless you.